Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar this afternoon. How to start your journey to optimal quality with a quality management system. Your jovial hosts this evening will be myself, Chris Nahil. I'm the Director of Content, Public Relations, and Analyst Relations at ETQ. I've been with the company about 5 years now. Been in the technology business my entire career, and have really come to love the entire notion of manufacturing technology, especially quality. So it was a new area for me back then. It isn't now, and love to talk to you. Co-host today will be Shrenya Salguti, and I'll let Shrenya introduce yourself.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, all. My name is Shrenya Salguti. I'm a principal consultant at ETQ. I've been with the company for over 6 years now. I work as part of our professional services team, and my experience is with implementing the ETQ software for our customers.
Small bit of housekeeping here. The webinar will be recorded, or is being recorded, so anybody who has registered will be sent a link to the recording. If you take a look at your dashboard, please use the questions drop-down menu and go to webinar to submit any questions you might have. Feel free to do it in the course of the webinar, and then we will answer any and all questions at the end. And feel free to fire away with any any thoughts, questions you have, and we will do our best. ETQ looks at automated quality as basically extending through the entire product lifecycle, from product design to ultimately customer usage. It touches the supply chain and supply chain quality, the manufacturing of products clearly, the logistics and moving them from one spot to the other, the sales process, and then customer usage and feedback. All of this, every step along the way creates data and a data element that can be fed back into the ecosystem to drive continuous improvement, push everybody closer to optimal product quality, reduce costs, improve efficiencies, self-cement brand loyalty, because you will have a product that is known for quality, and allow companies, to gain a financial benefit. Frankly, if you have a reputation for optimal quality, you can charge a premium. You look at some of the brands that have that, and that's why they cost more. So we do view quality as, again, as I said, going through the entire life cycle, and we're sort of working against what had been the traditional traditional reputation of quality as being sort of the cop at the end of the production cycle that says you can't do that. So we're trying to show that quality is a catalyst rather than a blocker, I guess. And just to point out too, I mean, that this works whether, frankly, you are a mid-market machine shop, or supplier, an OEM supplier to the automotive industry, with one plant and 200 workers and maybe one distribution facility, to global leaders who are manufacturing around the world and subject to compliance and regulatory standards of a wide variety, depending on where you're doing business and what industry you're in too. The idea here is to, again, drive quality throughout the organization, use it to improve your business, and allow your system, your quality management system, to grow and evolve with you as your company grows. The quality environment today is increasingly complex. I, frankly, at my age, find almost everything increasingly complex. The world is moving fast and changing quickly. Poor quality concerns resonate with everybody, right? As we talked about, this can cost you brand damage. Poor quality can cost you brand damage, financial damage, right? There's a cost to scrap, rework, warranty costs, shipping and receiving. It can actually provide a drag on corporate performance altogether. A lot of companies struggle with data visibility across the business, but I think it's especially true in the manufacturing world. And there is a ton of manufacturing data that comes out that is thrown off throughout the product lifecycle. The ability to see that, harness it, and get it to the right people at the right time to make better decisions is critical. And I think that's a problem. It's an increasing problem these days as more and more systems are added to the manufacturing cycle. As disparate silos of data appear throughout an organization, it becomes a bigger struggle. As we talked a little bit about, compliance whether it's regulatory compliance or even standard compliance or what have you, internal standards. Doing this at scale is difficult, right? It's often easy. No, I won't say easy, but it's a smaller challenge to maintain compliance with one or two locations or one or two product lines. But as the world becomes more complex, as mergers and acquisitions happen, as companies grow and evolve domestically and internationally, your situation, your compliance situation, your quality situation becomes that much more complex. The ability to maintain optimal quality at scale in response to market changes, in response to global issues is critical, and you're looking for something that's going to allow you to do that. I'm guessing for anyone on this call who works for an organization that has more than two manufacturing facilities probably has experienced something like this. Scaling becomes a problem very quickly. Supplier quality issues, again, I've heard this. Part of my role here is I work on all the case histories and the voice of the customer efforts here. So I get to talk to a lot of customers, and I hear a lot about supplier quality issues, right? I've heard statistics that something like 80% of the final value of a completed product comes out of the supply chain, right? Literally, the supply chain is the product these days, and not enough companies have enough visibility into their suppliers to guarantee quality, to guarantee and sort of two-way data exchange between suppliers and the manufacturer, the OEM, that will allow for improved supplier quality and continuous improvement. I was doing a case study with one of our bigger customers early in my career here, and it was a huge multinational aerospace company. And I was talking to, at the time, the CEO, and asked how many suppliers the company had. And his response at the time was 4,000 that we know of. And if you look at it that way, that can be supplier quality can become a very big issue very quickly. And again, I think we talked about this at the beginning. The market is changing quickly. It's again, depending on how you're expanding, depending on what the regulatory environment is wherever you're doing business. We're also in an environment where information travels instantaneously. So any quality problems that you may encounter get identified and communicated around the world very, very quickly. And you've got to be responsive to you've got to be responsive to that, and you've got to be responsive to, I guess that's sort of on a negative front, but you've also got to be responsive to sort of changing buyer needs. You might find very quickly that one of your product lines is slightly behind the curve in terms of what the market is demanding. You've got to be able to evolve and move more quickly to take advantage of that market opportunity. Pardon me. We live by the phrase quality creates business value here at ETQ. And what we're going to do today is walk through 5 different potential scenarios, or 5 potential value drivers of automated quality management, and how they can actually impact and deliver business value to your organization. I'll talk through the sort of concepts of each one of these, and then Shrenya will talk through actual case studies of some of our customers and how they have made these value drivers actually come to life, and how they're using quality to actually create business value in their own organizations. The first element here is improving productivity, and this really is all about decision velocity, taking all the data that's thrown off by your quality management system and your manufacturing out of your manufacturing ecosystem to create actionable information, right? Prescriptive and predictive information that we can then analyze and parse through with advanced analytics, which we have built into the platform, automation, of course, and artificial intelligence as it continues to find its way into the manufacturing world. AI is an interesting topic. We spend a lot of time talking to industry analysts these days about where the role of AI in manufacturing. I think suffice to say, everybody wants it, but don't quite know exactly what to do with it. So I think that in terms of the manufacturing world and the quality world, it's an evolving situation. We've got a bunch of different initiatives going on inside ETQ and Hexagon, our parent company, too, to find out exactly what the best, most productive uses of AI are in manufacturing, and we'll be rolling those out as time goes on. Shrenya, if you want to talk about what's happening at AMD, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Right, AMD, or Advanced Micro Devices, is a semiconductor company, and if you don't know who they are or haven't heard of them, all you need to know is they're one of the most important companies in the world today. They serve as a global leader in the computer processor and microprocessor industry. They've driven innovation for over 50 years, and AMD, more importantly for this webinar, they use ETQ Reliance to make quality a strategic imperative in their organization. Three key factors led AMD to implement ETQ Reliance. Their focus was ISO governance, emerging markets, and the company's long-term strategy. ETQ started their quality journey with AMD in 2018, and their focus at that time was automating for ISO 9001 certification. And over time, AMD has deployed an additional 14 solutions in ETQ across 10 global locations, and there are over 2,000 users accessing the system, the ETQ system today. In 2020, AMD implemented our supplier portal solution, which allowed them to bring suppliers access to the system, and with their supplier portal, they brought in things like audit management, supplier corrective actions, change management for their suppliers, and overall supplier quality management. After standardizing all of these processes by building in all best practices and automations wherever possible, the next step to them was obvious. How do we utilize all of this data to help drive positive outcome for the business? So AMD implemented ETQ Insights, which is our analytical platform where they created customers' dashboards and centralized quality data lake access. With these insights, and the dashboards available within the Insights platform, AMD's executive teams and management teams had easy oversight into their quality processes, informing their business decisions and really driving that decision velocity. With their supplier portal, AMD was also able to track and trend supplier-related issues and monitor them to resolution. So the data, all of this data that they captured in the ETQ system provided them with invaluable insights into supplier trends and also individual supplier performance. So this is how they really drove that automation using data and standardized their processes, and were able to easily track and trend their supplier issues and rate their suppliers. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Shrenya. Excuse me. Secondly, we're talking a little bit about scale, right? And the importance of maintaining compliance at scale. And one of the ways is to have your quality management system operate at optimal efficiency, where your workflows are set up to be agile enough to accommodate, any changes in the manufacturing ecosystem. As I said earlier, whether that's a company that is buying or selling, engaged in mergers or acquisitions, taking on new facilities from a company that was acquired, or expanding expanding domestically in whatever country you're in or around the world, and you are then exposed to quality and compliance regulations of wherever you're working. It's important that your quality management system can accommodate that change at scale, right? And sort of evolve along with you, be agile, be flexible, and allow you to maintain optimal quality no matter where you're doing business. And Shrenya has another story from one of our customers, Ecolab, about how they managed to do that.
Yep. Ecolab, if you haven't heard of them, they are a global leader in water hygiene and energy solutions. They've been around for a while now, I think since the 1920s. They provide services and technology to address challenges, and they have an emphasis on sustainability and innovation. At Ecolab, quality is part of their DNA. They say that it is part of their 3 pillars between safety, ethics, and quality is right there between the two. So in the past, quality at Ecolab was siloed, and they had all of these different systems that did not talk to each other. And over the last 7 years, they've adopted a journey. They've spent a lot of time and effort in into consolidating all of these disparate quality systems and centralize them into ETQ Reliance. They moved away from archaic systems like emails and spreadsheets into the centralized platform with ETQ Reliance. As a result of this, they saw a significant reduction in the number of quality events being reported and also customer events. This in turn allowed them to see massive improvements in their KPIs. An anecdote from their quality manager. Since 2020, they've recorded 0 critical quality events, whereas in 2019 they had 31. So they've been able to capture thousands of observed events across the globe. So anytime anybody observes an event, they're able to quickly log it into ETQ, and that allows them to do a very proactive investigation and proactive resolution of any issues that have been identified, resulting in a complete elimination of occurrence of critical incidents. They also use ETQ Reliance to manage hundreds of thousands of their suppliers, and similar to AMD, they're able to track their performance based on supply corrective actions and all the audit data that they have in the that they're capturing within their ETQ system.
And to sort of help brag about our customer here, that the installation actually was so successful across the globe that our internal customer there was actually awarded an award from Ecolab for Project Management Office of the Year as a result of the ETQ rollout and how smoothly it went. Always love when your customers get awards. We talked about supply chain a little bit before. Obviously, it's crucial to optimize your supplier quality. A good portion of that revolves around visibility into your supply chain, visibility into the quality of goods you're receiving from your suppliers, the ability just to smoothly execute supply chain change requests. In a lot of cases, and Trane is one of them, you will find the company finds a way to bring the supplier into the quality management system sort of on their own terms. So the most successful ETQ Reliance customers who use us to manage their supply chain quality create a portal in which the suppliers can actually communicate most directly with the OEM. There's a stronger sort of mutual benefit to delivering higher quality products from the supply chain. They can do continuous improvement more quickly, and by limiting the amount of access or controlling the amount of access your supplier has into the system, you can get them to, as Trane says, play on your field, which is kind of a huge advantage in terms of your overall sense of quality. At that point, you've got a good communications relationship, got a strong relationship with your suppliers, and you're all moving towards the same goal of optimal quality. Shrenya has some more detail on Trane, and I'll turn it over to her.
Thanks, Chris. All right, so Trane is another longtime customer of ETQ. Trane Technologies is a global leader in climate and sustainability solutions. They make heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, or HVAC systems. They are, they are at the forefront really of, shaping sustainable and intelligent climate control for residential and commercial spaces. Trane's goals before they started on this quality journey was to eliminate all of the prevalent problems that they found in their plants related to, cost of poor quality and high warranty costs and so on. They also wanted to, the step one was to eliminate those types of problems in their plants. Then they wanted to create a consistent and standardized standardized methodology, which they found would be best supported in a QMS system, and then understand the effect that quality has on a company's bottom line. So with that, Trane's approach to deploying their ETQ solution was to address the pressing issues that plagued their plants. They adopted a think big, start small, act fast mentality. So starting small, they started with 4 applications or 4 solutions within ETQ that was intended to bring order to their internal functions as well as their supplier base. So the 4 applications that they started with was to manage their non-conforming material, manage their process and product deviations, and also their internal and supplier corrective actions. This allowed the Trane quality team to address issues while proving the platform's ROI and favorable business impact. So they were really able to show success of this implementation by proving that ROI, which gave the team a runway to continue building and deploying additional modules. By taking this approach, they convinced the company leadership to fund their QMS software across the enterprise, and they were able to really, scale the system across their organization. Today, over 9,000 Trane users rely on ETQ Reliance to automate and manage their quality processes. So they were really able to drive adoption of their system and drive expansion of their usage of the system as well by proving this ROI, and the outcome of their quality journey is very apparent in these highly impressive metrics. As you can see, they were able to reduce their scrap and rework by 30%, to reduce their overall cost by 70%, and all of these percentages, they translate to very high dollar amounts, as you can imagine.
One of the things that always impressed me about the Trane story, it's a piece of advice for the quality pros in the audience too, if you're looking to gain executive support, is the Trane folks learned how to speak the language of business, not the language of quality, right? So they took what they were doing from a quality standpoint, a supplier quality standpoint, and as Shrenya pointed out, went through a lot of trouble to show demonstrable ROI and show the benefit of quality in financial terms that the C-suite wants to see. And as a result, they were able to get executive sponsorship for expanding their the footprint for Reliance and frankly their entire quality program. But it was really an effort for them to sort of meet more than halfway the business audience inside their organization, the business stakeholders, and they had to do it by learning how to speak their language. It's a really interesting case study. Thanks, Shrenya. Excuse me. Almost by the vast majority of the prospects who come to us, we try to track the particular pains that they're feeling and why they might be interested in automating their quality management system. And by and large, one of the biggest ones is to reduce cost. The cost of poor quality has massive impacts across the business in terms of, as we talked about, the actual cost of scrap, rework, the cost of running, what some folks call the hidden assembly line, the hidden factory, to remediate, first production line problems. Not to mention the potential financial impact of brand damage, customer turnover. There's a revenue issue there, all that sort of stuff too. And by automating your quality management process and driving more closely to achieving optimal quality, you can reduce your costs dramatically, but also improve your sort of upside financial performance as well too. And our company, our customer Wabtec, longtime customer of ours, it has some great stories there that Shrenya will walk through with you now.
Thanks, Chris. Wabtec is a global leader in transportation solutions. They manufacture and service locomotives and transit equipment. They drive innovation in rail technology. Their biggest challenge before they started with ETQ was, similar to Ecolab, struggled with disparate quality management systems. So they had 30 different tools across 60 locations. So it made for remediating any kind of quality issues very inefficient and ineffective. They started their quality journey with a focus on supplier quality and new product integration. And then they expanded their usage to other multiple sites. And finally, they've integrated their quality control from their shop floor with their quality management teams. ETQ Reliance is very much an anchor for Wabtec across their enterprise systems. They have deployed integrated systems. So they've used ETQ's integration capabilities to set up communications between other systems as well to really streamline and track all of their quality issues. So all of their different systems feed into ETQ Reliance, where, which serves as a repository and that anchor to help them track any type of quality issues. So a very interesting example that showcases how Wabtec really tackled the problem of cost of poor quality is an integration that they developed between their PC-DMIS software and ETQ Reliance. For those of you who don't know, PC-DMIS is a hexagon software. It's a CMM software which has very powerful capabilities for precise measurement and inspection of manufactured parts. So PC-DMIS is this hexagon software that Wabtec uses. They've set up an integration between this software and ETQ Reliance. And I'll talk about what that integration did, but previously, their previous state was anytime a defect occurred on the shop floor, disposition decisions, what to do with that defect, whether to scrap it, whether to rework it, those types of decisions were being made directly on the shop floor, and no record of it was being captured anywhere. So there was no document or record of it. So this made for, it did not allow for visibility into these issues. So quality team had no visibility to manage, resolve these issues, prevent them from reoccurring again. This is not an issue that is isolated at Wabtec. We see this across the manufacturing space. So with this integration with PC-DMIS, the integration allowed for an automation where anytime a defect was identified by the PC-DMIS software, a non-conformance record was directly created within ETQ Reliance, where and a quality team was notified to take appropriate actions, to do a corrective action if needed. So anytime a defective part was identified on the shop floor, a record of it was automatically submitted into ETQ Reliance. So this automation created data that was very powerful for trend analysis and providing, early predictions of defects and helping to identify when these types of compound issues arise. So this allowed Wabtec to have, $10 to $12 million in productivity gains.
Thanks, Shreenya. One of the more interesting factoids and mini facts in the whole Wabtec story too is as a result of some of the defective units they were shipping. Yes, that has obviously a cost impact. One of the biggest cost impacts were they make locomotives. These are big parts. They were Wabtec was Federal Expressing replacement parts to customers around the world at a cost of a minimum of $10,000 a whack to ship one part to one replacement part. So you imagine how quickly that adds up. Really interesting story. I'd also like to thank everybody for their patience in experiencing the fun of working at home as one of our dogs decided to weigh in. Our dogs are really interested in quality. Mine will obviously often makes her presence known in the middle of meetings. So thanks for your patience there, guys. Finally, accelerating time to market. This is another critical component in which quality can have a direct impact on business performance. We can look at accelerating time to market. It really is as accelerating time to revenue, right? The faster you can get high quality products to market to respond to those market changes that we talked about earlier in the presentation, the more impact you can have on your organization, right? Again, this sort of speaks to driving quality as far up in the design stage of the product life cycle as you can. The quicker you can get high quality products out the door, the more you can start making money, which means that any issues that you have in your product at the design stage of your product life cycle if you correct them at the design stage versus the manufacturing stage, or God forbid, before they get out into the market, you will save a huge amount of time and obviously increase or shorten the time it takes for you to get high quality products out to market and start making money on them. Kimberly-Clark is a great example of that. Shrenya?
Sorry, just realized I was talking on mute. Kimberly-Clark is another long-term customer of ETQ. They are a global leader in personal care and hygiene products. So they have iconic brands like Kleenex, Scott, Huggies, Kotex. You've definitely heard of all of these. So they have a huge portfolio of consumer and professional products. They have a very substantial foothold in the market that they're in. Despite that, they're very committed to their quality and growth, and they hold number 1 or number 2 positions in over 80 countries across the world. A big part of what Kimberly-Clark does is very dependent on their contract manufacturers. So they have an ever-expanding mobile workforce, and their contract manufacturers are spread worldwide, which makes locating and identifying these contracts difficult. And as this is a very big part of their business model, this siloed approach of having different contract manufacturer locations all over the world made it very difficult for them to track key metrics. Another challenge was contract security. So they did want to bring everybody into a single platform they used over 600 different systems that they had in place for managing all of these different contracting companies, but they wanted to bring everybody into a single platform. But a big challenge for them was related to security. So Kimberly-Clark wanted all of their supply contracts to be handled under a single secure environment, but did not want to take the risk of providing these suppliers access through the corporate firewall. These security dilemmas made it very difficult for Kimberly-Clark to find a software solution to help them have a centralized supplier management tool. So Kimberly-Clark went through a very thorough process of vetting out different IT solutions and finally went with ETQ Reliance, where they implemented a custom contract management module. So with the kind of flexibility that the ETQ system platform provides, Kimberly-Clark was able to develop a module, develop an application that meets their business requirements. They were able to build their own process, their own workflows into this application. And more importantly, I think they were able to build a system that complied with all of their robust security requirements and kept all of their sensitive contracts confidential. This system was something that their suppliers had access to, so they could get into the system to, address any corrective actions that were assigned to them, and so on, access documentation as needed. But the setup ensured that suppliers can only access data that they were authorized to view. So through elimination of all of this unnecessary software, like I said, 600 plus, a lot of manual work and elimination of all of this manual work and business risk, Kimberly-Clark was, they've seen approximately 3,200% return on investment with just this single module. So their return of investment, it really touched every sector of their business, and they were able to, with improved supplier management, they were able to see a significant reduction in new product introduction life cycles.
Great, thank you. So again, these are the 5 key value drivers that we have seen reflected in our customer base. What they are, the benefit, the business benefit that they are gathering from automating their quality management system with a comprehensive, flexible, and agile platform like ETQ Reliance. Just quickly, we tend to look at something called what we call the quality journey. Everybody's got a journey. This is what we call the quality journey these days, or a maturity journey. And ETQ can address the quality needs of any organization at any phase of the journey. If you look to the far left, your Ignite phase, generally these are folks who are coming in who have been managing quality with SharePoint files, emails, Excel spreadsheets, sometimes paper files stuffed in filing cabinets in 17 different facilities. These are folks who are really sort of building their quality foundation. They often start with document management, some training management, basically working on streamlining their workflows and processes, and just sort of getting things lined up for success in the early days. From there, we move to the Accelerate phase, in which really you're starting to really see the benefit of data that is flowing in and out of your quality management system, to be able to use to capture the data, move it to the right people at the right time, analyze it appropriately, improve the quality, accuracy, and speed of the decisions that you make that impact your product life cycle. From there, oftentimes customers will expand the reach of their quality management system. When we talk about expanding, ETQ Reliance is a very, very open system with open APIs. It is very easy to connect other enterprise software platforms like your ERP, like your MES, PLM in the manufacturing world, your customer relationship management platform, so that you have then a really robust environment in which data from across the company flows fairly freely and can be analyzed and used quickly to, again, drive continuous improvement, speed root cause analysis discovery, and make quicker and better business decisions. The transform phase of the journey is almost the state of mind, honestly. It's the point where you are now using quality proactively to help drive to help create a competitive advantage. The quality has now sort of become a strategic element of your company plan. It's a cultural imperative at that point, and it's deployed globally. And when I say globally, that can be globally around the world or globally just across your organization, whether it's local or not. At that point, you're leveraging quality to clearly bring a business advantage to your organization. And just 30 seconds about us. Probably I should have done this in the beginning, but why should you pay attention to us? ETQ has been around for 30 plus years. The company was started by a pair of engineers for Underwriters Laboratories, one of the early product testing organizations in the country. They saw a need they saw this thing called ISO 9000 starting to become important in European manufacturing, and they decided that, well, American companies probably ought to know about this as well. And so they decided to form a consultancy. So they started going around to various big manufacturers and saying, hey, we can consult and tell you how to do this, how to be ISO 9000 compliant. And what they found out very quickly is that these companies didn't want consultants. They wanted somebody to do it for them. So the company quickly pivoted to become a software company, and we've been doing that for 30 plus years. There are well over 1 million active users of ETQ Reliance literally around the world in a huge variety of industries, which I'll show you in 2 seconds. We're headquartered in Boston, but as you have heard on this call, we are a virtual first company. We also have offices in Tucson, Arizona, in Europe and Ireland, and staff literally around the world. We were acquired by Hexagon AB, a global $5 billion global manufacturing technology powerhouse in 2022, I believe. So we are working closely with them to take advantage of not only of their financial backing, but the synergies of the product and technology synergies as well too, that we can help deliver to customers around the world too. Everyone loves a good NASCAR slide, as we call it. This is an example of several of our clients. What I'd like you to take away from this is you don't see us, you don't see ETQ being exceptionally strong in any one industry, and that is by design. Some organizations in the quality management space will focus on 1 or 2 industries in which they have real depth of understanding. We have depth of understanding across a variety of industries. And in point of fact, we can take the best practices from one industry and move them to another, right? We've seen a number of automotive, in particular, regulatory issues, compliance requirements be taken up by the med device industry. And we've seen this sort of like cross-pollination of best practices across industries. And we have customers literally all over the place, as you can see, from med devices to pharma to food and bev to automotive to aviation to vertical farming. And this is one of my favorite stories. Plenty is a vertical farming startup, probably around for about 3 years now, out in the West Coast, very Silicon Valley feeling sounding type of company. The founders of that company all came from Tesla or Google. And the Plenty's supply chain setup is nearly identical to that of an automotive company, because that's where these folks came from. So again, the best practice is cross-pollinate from, building EVs to growing greens in a hydroponic vertical farming environment. So really interesting stuff. And this is, I think, this is something to brag a bit. This is something that differentiates ETQ, I think, from a number of our customers. But I think it's a way of sort of getting the best benefit of each one of these industries into across the board. And that's about it for the formal part of our presentation. Happy to answer any and all questions. Let me just see what we've got. We have one question here. It says, just wondering, once a non-conformance report is issued, how you normally make sure the implementation of the preventative action is sufficient or effective? What is the best way to see if the problem has disappeared? Shrenya, how would you answer that?
I apologize, Chris. Would you mind repeating the question?
Sure thing. I'll paraphrase. Once a non-conformance report is issued, how does the customer then ensure, I believe this is what the question is, that the preventative action that was taken or prescribed by the NCR is actually effective? How do we know it worked?
Yeah, great question. So we do have, our out of the box does have a solution in place for this, where once a non-conformance report is issued, you go through your disposition, whatever your non-conformance, however you manage your non-conformance, and from there, if a corrective action is necessary, you launch a corrective action, and create your action plan, implement that action plan, and then your CAPA remains open while you are monitoring the effectiveness of your action plan. So based off of whatever you've identified as the root cause of the issue, you're going to develop your action plan to address that. And the CAPA, once your action plan is implemented, you're going to monitor your corrective action. You're going to monitor the issue to ensure that the actions that you have implemented have effectively addressed the root cause of the issue. So the system does offer, within ETQ, we have a solution, the corrective action solution, that does offer the ability to keep the CAPA open while you're monitoring the issue, and then log your comments. And if it is effective, you close it out. Otherwise, you initiate a new CAPA and then take it from there. Redo your CAPA steps, redo your root cause analysis, redo your action plan, and so on.
I hope that answered the question for whoever asked it. If it didn't, please drop another question into the question box too. And again, anybody else who's listening, if you've got questions, please add them to the question box, and we'll add them to the ones that we have collected already. And Shrenya, I think you've got a couple, 2 or 3 that you've seen.
Chris, I don't see the questions. If you wouldn't mind speaking them out here.
Yeah, I think there's one here that talks about where should we start? Where the customer, what module should a customer start with the quality management system? What applications, I guess?
A great question. So the answer is it depends, right? So a lot of times customers who start with ETQ, they come to us with the idea in mind to just have a QMS in place. So if there's no pressing issues, maybe compliance issues or an audit finding, if there's nothing pressing that we need to address right away, where we would recommend you start if you're just looking to build out an effective QMS is to start with very core quality processes like document control, where you manage your control documents, your revision of control documents, because that would really build that foundation for a QMS system. And along with document control, training is something that is a process that's very tightly integrated with managing of your documents. Anytime there's a new procedure released, you want to make sure employees are notified and have a training record for each employee in the system. So this is just ISO, basic ISO compliance that you would get out of starting with document control, training management, and really any of our core applications within ETQ. When I say core, along with document control, training management, we also have a solution for management of audits, managing corrective actions. So these are also, a great place to start with building out of your QMS system.
Yeah, and I think to your point earlier on that one, Shrenya, it really kind of depends on what the need is. I think what you described is sort of the most common, but I've talked to a couple of customers too who, and these tend to be folks who are a little bit more, have a little bit more experience with an automated QMS. They might be moving from company to company, but instead of starting with sort of some of the building blocks, some of the Ignite level elements of the quality journey, they go for what they know in their environment is going to deliver the most immediate impact. Some cases that's supply chain, some cases it's non-conformance. Some cases it's an audit issue if they've just recently, failed an audit or gotten, 483 from the federal government, from the FDA or something like that. But again, it's sort of they're sort of a 95% of the world starts off at the Ignite level, but you can, depending on where you are in your journey, you can start anywhere with the product and deliver value as quickly as you can. I think we answered this one already, but somebody asked, are there industries that can best benefit from automated QMS or ones that are better suited to something like this? As you saw from the NASCAR slide, really any industry in which quality is important, and I think that's pretty much all of them. But of course, any regulated industry, and that can be from federal regulations or industry regulations. I don't think it really matters. I think quality cuts across industries, cuts across businesses, cuts across geographies. I think you won't find too many industries in which somebody in the business would say, well, we really don't care about quality. And we are fortunate at ETQ in that our QMS solution, ETQ Reliance, can actually accommodate quality management requirements and challenges across the industry. I don't see any other questions at this point. I'll get last call. Anybody else? Does not seem that way. So what I'd like to say is thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your attendance. Shrenya, thank you for being a great partner in this presentation. On behalf of our two dogs who participated as well too, I'd like to wish you a happy quality Thursday. Thank you very much, everyone. If you have any questions, please visit our website at www.etq.com. If you're looking for a demo or more information, there's all kinds of information from quality 101 stuff to more sophisticated information on there. And you can, if you'd like to talk to one of our quality experts, there's certainly a contact us page, contact us link there as well too. We would love to talk to you and would love to welcome you into the ETQ family at some point. In the meantime, have a great afternoon and thank you very much.
Thank you all.